creativity, when I first discovered it, was something I realized is really important in my life. I was really surrounded by people who weren't creative, were anti-creativity, and, it's really like built for just like following the system. And, when I had the mentality just like breaking through the system and being the system and being what I feel like it's in my heart that I can do, I made sure I, develop my skills into that and just make sure I was the art, And so when I started producing and stuff like that, I realized, it can touch people in many ways. And as much as the time when I first started creating my craft, I made a lot of mistakes. It wasn't like the best material, but as time went by and I still stuck to it, I became better. And it shows you that, you can make mistakes, but then when you make different mistakes, you gotta learn from them and be better and progress from it, So that's what's creativity.
Sir Ken Robinson is here. He is a leading thinker in the development of creativity, innovation, and human potential. His 2006 TED Talk about schools killing creativity is the most viewed TED Talk in the organization's history. My God. Here is a look.
Now, I don't mean to say that being wrong is the same thing as being creative. What we do know is, if you're not prepared to be wrong, you will never come up with anything original. If you're not prepared to be wrong. And by the time they get to be adults, most kids have lost that capacity. They have become frightened of being wrong. And we run our companies this, by the way. We stigmatize mistakes. And we're now running national education systems where mistakes are the worst thing you can make. And the result is that we are educating people out of their creative capacities. Picasso once said this. He said that all children are born artists. The problem is to remain an artist as we grow up. I believe this passionately, that we don't grow into creativity, we grow out of it. Or rather, we get educated out of it.
First of all, just explain yourself there, sir. If you're not prepared to fail, you're not prepared to be creative.
Yeah, I don't mean to say that if you make mistakes, that's infallibly a creative thing to do. But
or don't set out to make mistakes.
No, but every creative process has dead ends, false starts, and may take you down a path that's unproductive. A friend of mine won the Nobel Prize for Chemistry. I emphasize that I did not, but he did.
Yes.
And I asked him how many of his experiments failed. And he said probably 90% of them.
Yeah.
He said,
is that trial and error or more?
Yeah, he said, it's not really, failure's not the right word. He said, what you're finding out is what doesn't work. Yeah. And you see that if people are composing music, if they're writing scripts, if they're designing buildings. You very rarely get it right the first time. Yeah. So if you're stigmatized for getting it wrong, it's a big deterrent.
I mean, you just see that. It's the way life is.
Yes.
Because you can't know everything. And you can't, and if you're not prepared to go that way, then you will not find anything that's worth finding.
We're not being mad at you down there. We ain't the people fly up here with the birds.
Yes, I think that's generally true as well about how people conduct their own lives. Yeah. It's why I argue that creativity is fundamental, because we create our own life, and you can recreate it.
Does life beat it out of us?
It does sometimes. There's no question of it. I think people can sometimes get so worn down into their own groove, they think there's no alternative to it. Yeah. Well, Polanyi, the philosopher, talked about that, about the intellectual passions of science.
Right.
I make all...
And I was talking years ago to a mathematician, and I asked him how you would assess a PhD in pure math. I mean, I'd never seen such a thing. I mean, I used to supervise doctoral programs in the humanities, but math wasn't my strong suit. And I said, now, how would you assess one, a PhD in pure math? I said, presumably it's right. You know, I mean, you'd be fairly depressed, wouldn't you, if you spend 5 years doing a PhD in pure math? It comes back wrong.
Right.
See me. And
or goodbye.
He said, no, they're normally right. But he said there are two criteria for mathematics. He said the first of them is originality.
Yeah.
whether or not it breaks new ground in its field. And that's the point about creativity. People often say you can't assess creativity. Well, it's simply not true. But what you have to understand, I say to them, is that you can't be creative unless you're doing something. And
so with the rap battle, Slim Biscuit, your mama gonna show up and hold it for your kids, Slim Biscuit. Right this far, huh? Yeah. Still smell like you got Similac in your breath, son. Son. See you at the battle, son. Don't be scared, don't be high.
It's beautiful proof. I said, why does that matter? I said, because mathematicians have a very powerful belief that mathematics is one of the purest ways we have of describing the truths of nature.
Right.
And since nature is inherently beautiful, the intuition is that the more elegant the proof, the more likely it is to be true.
And I've often said or believed or asked this question, is there some similarity between math and music?
Yes.
Looking
Yes.
for some beautiful, perfect sound.
Yes.
Or looking for a perfect, beautiful formula
Yes.
that in its aesthetic is so pristine and beautiful in the way it defines
Yes.
something.
Well, it was
whether it's
Einstein.
love for music or whether it's an answer
Yes.
in math.
Well, I think the exact parallel. He could be talking about a sonata or a poem, or a dance or a building. I remember following this question up with him. I said, "So why do you think people struggle with mathematics?" And I was very interesting answer. He said it's a linguistic problem.
Yeah.
I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "They don't speak
here at the
math."
battle.
And
Hey, hold on.
what
Let
he
me
meant
talk to them.
was-
Let me talk to them real quick. Hey, yo, son, check it out. This dreadhead MC up in here, I'm with my young dude right here, Killer Cam. I ain't finna battle this cat because he choked. So you gotta go through my little homies first before you come with me. Wow. Tell you something. Check this out.
Yo, this guy's a choke artist. You catch a bad one, you better off shooting yourself with Papa Doc's handgun. Climbing up this mountain, you're weak, I leave you lost without a paddle floating Schitt's Creek.
Now everybody from the 313, put your motherfucking hands up and follow me. Everybody from the 313, put your motherfucking hands up. Look. Now while he stands tough, notice that this man did not have his hands up. This free world's got you gassed up. Now who's afraid of the big bad wolf? 1, 2, 3 into the 4. 1 pop, 2 pop, 3 pop, 4. 4 pop, 3 pop, 2 pop, 1. Your pop, he's pop, no pop, none. This guy ain't no motherfucking MC. I know everything he's about to say against me. I am white, I am a fucking bum. I do live in a trailer with my mom. My boy Future is an Uncle Tom. I do got a dumb friend named Cheddar Bob who shoots himself in his leg with his own gun. I did get jumped by all 6 of you chumps. And we did fuck my girl. I'm still standing here screaming fuck the free world. Don't never try to judge me, dude. You don't know what the fuck I've been through. But I know something about you. You went to Cranbrook, that's a private school. What's the matter, dog? You embarrassed? This guy's a gangster? His real name's Clarence. And Clarence lives at home with both parents. And Clarence's parents have a real good marriage. This guy don't want to battle, he's shook. Cause ain't no such things as halfway crooks. He's scared to death, he's scared to look at his fucking yearbook. Fuck Cranbrook. Fuck a beat, I go a cappella. Fuck a Papa Doc, fuck a clock, fuck a trailer, fuck everybody. Fuck y'all if you doubt me. I'm a piece of fucking...